Glenn Schumann and Todd Hartley spoke to the media, and it was like an angel breathed on us, Clint. There was just peace and grace and so much excitement to be heard and seen throughout Dog Nation. We're going to talk about what those two had to say and why it should pump you up for the 2023 season next on Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Bulldogs. Today's episode brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. More on them in a minute. Thank you, LinkedIn, for being amazing at finding good people to work at your companies. And what if I were to tell you that Kirby Smart has all the good people that work in all of college football working under the roof that
this guy
presides in? Dave talking out angel dust and angel breath. It is not just Angels envy. We're not talking anything that's
angels in the outfield. We're not talking about
underrated Disney
What
production.
A great film. Fine piece of
cinema.
Banter. People love this banter. We're 9 seconds in.
We're glad you're here. If you think that our entire job is just to give you information that you could read at any given point of any given day, then that's on you, because we're here talking like fans talk. We're going to have some fun. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to give you news. We're going to give you breakdown, but we're actually going to give you context, and we're going to color that information so it's not just black and white all the way through, because this just in, all you gurus and insiders that thought we had a lock of a 5-star safety commit that was coming to Georgia, you all whiffed and suck.
Yeah. Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing. This is our point. We are for fans by fans. If you're a fan of Georgia, we're glad you're here. Hit that subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, go over the audio side, download, and get that as well. Let's get into today's show. We're talking about Glenn and Todd speak to the media. We're talking camp news. And this just in, Florida's still Florida. It doesn't matter what they think they have done this offseason. They've done 0 things this offseason, just like every other year. Daniel, tell the folks, Glenn and Todd spoke to the media. What stood out? What was so impressive about their speaking engagement, Daniel?
First of all, welcome back to the podcast,
Hey,
Clint. People are concerned about your well-being. People are nervous
comments
that you're never coming back.
Alan Judd did not send a bag man after me.
People thought there was a hit at some point. People thought you left to go to a different show. Somebody thought you decommitted and then went to Alabama because you were scared of the competition.
Because
people
Aguero's in the safety position.
You looked at Jonelle and thought, I don't want any of that smoke, and so I'll go play where
they don't have anybody.
Let's just to set the record straight. Clint been doing a little traveling. It's the summertime. We're both gearing up for the season, but the band's back together.
We're here.
And we're excited about it. And let's start with Glenn Schumann, speaking of people that make you excited, because Clint, we could get into the X's and O's, and he said some interesting things about the defense. He said some interesting things about the standard of Georgia football. He said some interesting things about some particular players. He specifically did not say anything interesting about the true freshman he was asked about, even though they tried to prod some information out of him, and he said, no, I'm not going to give you anything.
Not playing that game.
But let's start here on Glenn Schumann. When this man opens his mouth and speaks, which we know Kirby's policy doesn't get to happen to the media very often, but when Glenn Schumann opens his mouth and speaks, my only thought in my mind is pay him all the money in the world.
All the money.
And let's just hold our breath and hope that he stays at Georgia forever, because Glenn Schumann is the best of all of us. He's the best, Clint.
He is.
He's so well-spoken, well thought out. You see the fiery personality over on the sideline. He's got the kind of your stereotypical defensive coordinator personality on the sidelines. But you could just tell this guy, when you get him in a conversation, in an actual conversation, he's so thoughtful. He is so intentional with his words, and he clearly he is just cut from the same cloth as Kirby Smart. That's kind of the first point that I wanted to make, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts. The phrase "like father, like son," probably a bit of a cliche, a bit overused, but you have kids, Clint. I have kids. You know that sometimes you just look at your kids and you're just like, oh man, that is exactly
That's me
that's
in a miniature
the,
form.
the thing that I do. What a weird sensation it must be for Kirby Smart to look at a guy like Glenn Schumann, because there's so many similarities in the way that they approach the game, which is reasonable given the fact that they've worked together for, a decade.
This is what's so incredible to me as you listen. You're exactly right. The most important aspect is not his insights, although they are plenty, because again, we speak Curbinese, we understand how that goes. Schumann is a better disciple of Curbinese, the language of Kirby Smart, than you and I could ever attempt to be. And why this is important? This is crucial for a couple of reasons. And the cruciality of having Glenn Schumann being in lockstep with Kirby Smart is these guys are it's like hive mind all of a sudden between these two. And I said this pre-production, and you said, I kind of said it, maybe expecting a little bit of a different result from you, different outcome. But I said, Glenn Schumann is running laps around Dan Lanning right now. And Daniel
if Oregon had it back, say they wouldn't change their mind.
If I could tell Oregon, you could wait 2 years.
But I mean, and Oregon not dissatisfied with Dan Lanning, by the way.
That is not a knock on Dan.
Just received a big time raise
and a
big
deserved
time contract extension.
One.
Yeah.
Okay, but look at the progression. Okay, Mel, Dan, Glenn.
It's an ascension, Clint.
It's an ascension.
And no disrespect to any of those three men. I would be thrilled to have any of them as my defensive coordinator on this staff, and was thrilled at the time. There are no James Coleys in that group.
Jimmy C keeps on making an appearance on the pod, and I hate my life every time he does.
But yeah, you're right. It's an ascension, and it's just when you see what Glenn Schumann's been able to do, and you hear the way that he talks about Georgia, and you see the way that his mind works, it just lets you know that you're in good hands when it comes to this Georgia defense. You absolutely have nothing to fear, and it lets you know that in a year, he loves Athens. He made that very clear. He's happy. He's not chasing pipe dreams or what, but there's going to come a day when Glenn Schumann's going to get an offer, and he's not going to say no to it. He is going to progress in whichever direction he chooses, whether it be the NFL, which he's already, spoken with several NFL teams, or whether it be a head coaching job in college. Those offers are going to come, and eventually he's going to get one, and eventually he's going to leave. But the thing that Glenn Schumann should tell you is that you can trust Kirby Smart with the next guy as well, because you've just mentioned Mel Tucker, Dan Lanning, Glenn Schumann. You throw in Will Muschamp, who has been nothing but a home run hire on this staff, and you realize, Kirby gonna be fine no matter what when that day comes.
But the secondary just lost 2 commits to rival schools, Daniel.
Okay.
Okay,
number 1, Florida State wishes the secondary lost 2 commits to rival schools. Don't use the word rival so loosely, Clint. Florida State ain't no rival to us. Okay. Number 2 will be fine. We'll be fine. And we have lots more to talk about Glenn Schumann and also about Todd Hartley. And we will get to all of it right after this.
Right after this is, in fact, LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs is the place that you need to go. If you have a position to fill on your team, if your staff is lacking in competency and character and chemistry and all the things that you need to make your team tick,
you want to find somebody who's going to out-hustle people?
Okay, say more.
Who's going to outwork people? And who's going to out-hit people? Maybe not that third one, depending on your field.
We'll use it as a euphemism for attacking the day.
Sure, you're looking for the same types of people that Glenn Schumann's looking for.
then LinkedIn Jobs is the place you need to go. LinkedIn Jobs / Locked On College is the place you go to post your job for free. They have tools, they have assessments, they have filtering systems that get you the right candidates, not the candidates that just come willy-nilly knocking on your door like some Florida State with a bag full of money, but no development and no ability to get you to where you need to go.
Not
But
going to
hey,
help
it
your
looks
career.
pretty and shiny at the
Not going to
beginning
help your
because
company.
that's what happens at the beginning.
Texas
LinkedIn gets
A&M
you to
called. They said, Florida State, we want our plan back.
Give us our plan. LinkedIn Jobs is the place you go. LinkedIn.com / Locked On College. Terms and conditions apply. Post your job for free to millions upon millions upon millions of network people that get you the right candidates that you need to make your team get to that next level. LinkedInjobs.com / Locked On College. People catching strays already on the pod, and I'm we
band's back together.
It's been a while.
We firing them off. That's right.
All right.
Okay.
Also, Glenn had a accompaniment in his public announcement or public time of speaking to the media, and that's Todd Hartley. Daniel,
how much do we love Todd Hartley?
Okay.
What's Todd Hartley ever done for you?
A whole bunch of lists came out. Fran Brown, best recruiter right now by a whole lot of metrics, nailing these recruits coming in from not only the Northeast but across the nation. Todd Hartley said, "That's fine. I don't care. But how about I just give you 4 bona fide weapons that can't be stopped, can't be matched, and can't do anything but replicate each other like I had a clone machine in the back of the locker room."
Yeah, that'd work.
Okay.
That'd be good. Todd Hartley, you love a guy that loves the G. You know what I'm trying to say, Clint? And Todd Hartley, a Georgia graduate, he just loves the University of Georgia. He loves where he's at. Again, this is a guy for whom opportunities are going to come. You don't sit in the seat right next to the offensive coordinator for season after season on one of the best offenses in the country, back-to-back national championship team, and not get some smoke for offensive coordinator jobs yourself. Todd Hartley at some point is going to – people are going to start sniffing around that, that camp. But for the time being, what he's doing in Athens in this tight end room is – I don't want to overstate things. And you know I'm not one for hyperbole, Clint.
No. Daniel, you have only used measured words at all times.
Very calculated and measured. What he's doing in this tight end room, is unlike any position group that we've ever seen at Georgia in a stretch like this.
And if you want to fight him on that, then fine. Propose a better one in the history of Georgia.
It's just that some of these other position groups there's so many, they're so deep, there's so many of them that you end up with some duds in the mix.
Yes.
But the tight end room, he just brings in dude after dude after dude. And
I got a question for you. What do you think I would have to get you to make a bet that Oscar Delp isn't third on this team in touchdowns by the end of the year?
I talked about Oscar Delp. I mean, when was that? Maybe on Thursday show, Friday show, sometime last week. I talked about Oscar Delp. I talked about the 3 guys that needed to step up, that Georgia needed to be good on offense this year for them to have success. Oscar Delp is one of those guys, one of the most important pieces on this Georgia team.
Yes.
You know what you have in Brock Bowers. It's a concern.
The best offensive weapon in the nation.
It's a concern who's going to replace Darnell Washington. And Todd Hartley, lo and behold, longtime listener of the podcast. Todd, glad to have you here. Todd Hartley, it turns out Todd Hartley is concerned about the same things that I'm concerned about, because he mentioned Oscar Delp. We know what he can do as a touchdown maker, as a pass catcher, as a route runner. The first words out of his mouth were, the thing Oscar Delp needs to improve on the most is his point of attack blocking, and that's the biggest need in this tight end room, because the best blocking tight end in the history of college football just left Georgia. So there's a big deficit in terms of line of scrimmage, point of attack, moving bodies from the tight end position. Oscar Delp's going to have to step up into that role. That's why I said last week. That's what Todd Hartley said today. It shouldn't make you feel good as a Georgia fan because, of course, Georgia knows this. Of course, Todd Hartley, I joke about him listening to the podcast. I fire off bullets and get lucky to say the things that he says every now and then. But this is the guy that knows what he's talking about. This is obviously an area of concern. And if you're a Georgia fan, you should take it seriously. Oscar Delp, we know what this guy has in terms of his playmaking ability. But what Georgia doesn't need touchdowns from this guy. Georgia can find touchdowns. They can we'll be good on touchdowns. Georgia needs this guy to manhandle people at the line of scrimmage. That's what he needs.
And quick question, Todd Hartley to Mike Bobo to Kirby Smart. What's the best way that you got onto the field and stay onto the field for those pass sets in which you're doing streaking seams down the middle of the field? It's when you show out and you set the edge in a run and you don't let the 4 or 5 techs reach outside of you. You keep that outside shoulder free and you nail it down and you come down hard and you Darnell Washington some guy. And all of a sudden, Mike Bobo up there in the booth, and he goes, I see you. Hey, Oscar.
Guys
what's
like
a little
Oscar
Y
Delp.
waggle?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why don't you just go into a little play action Y waggle? Just get up the field and let's see what Carson Beck can do. Because there's reward for that. Because that's how it's played.
Carson Beck can put it on a line right into your breadbasket. That's what he can do.
Right into your eye hole.
Oscar Delp didn't have to block anybody in high school, Clint. This man is not out here trying to block anybody. That's the most athletic guy in his county. Okay, like he's not out here trying to throw blocks down the field for, the 5'11", 160-pound running back that's carrying the ball on the outside. He's out there making touch. So he's been in the system now a full year, now a full off season, second summer. Like you said, Kirby Smart, Mike Bobo, Todd Hartley. They get the program. They understand, and you don't hang around on this Georgia team and not realize the importance of physicality, of strain, of blocking, both at the line of scrimmage and downfield. And so you'd like to think you're going to see that from Oscar Delp.
I believe it.
But the things that Todd Hartley's doing in this room, and I just – maybe one more. You want to do this in segment 2 or segment 3?
Let's go segment 3.
We'll go segment 3, but I got one more thing to say about Todd Hartley and Brock Bowers. We got to talk about Brock Bowers, Clint. We have to.
We have to. Hey, welcome to the 199. To be part of the 199, very simple. I'm going to let you know.
Okay.
Bonfire.com/store/the 199 as you see it right there. If you're not on YouTube, you're on audio. Thanks. I'll say it again. Bonfire.com/store/the 199. Get over there, get your merch. Thanks for being here, loyal third segment listeners.
I'll give you a slightly cheaper way to be a part of the 199. Tell somebody about the show heading into fall camp, heading into this season. Share the show with a friend. We'd love to have them on. 7,500 over on the YouTube. That would be fantastic. Creeping on 7,000 right now. Let's get to 7,500 before the season starts.
Come on.
Love to see it.
Okay, let's talk about let me not mince words. The best offensive weapon in the entire college football landscape, Brock Bowers.
That's right.
Okay.
He's the best non-running back offensive weapon Georgia's ever had.
Correct.
In the history of their franchise.
I hear the AJ Green. I hear you.
He's just doesn't pose the mismatches that Brock Bowers does. He just
Jorge Pickens, I hear you, but Brock Bowers is better.
By the way, what is Jorge Pickens doing to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Pittsburgh Steelers defenders are begging the season to start so that they don't have to play against George Pickens anymore.
If you are in the Northeast and you're an NFL team, you just have one state on your mind, and it's Georgia. Mm-hmm. Andrew Thomas.
Can I get more of them?
Just bring them on down. Bring them on down.
Let me tell you what you don't hear. From many coaches,
Okay.
But you definitely do not hear from Kirby Smart and Kirby Smart disciple coaches. You do not hear absolute unqualified praise with no caveats, with no stuttering, with no, but he really does need to improve in this.
No.
But he still could get better. There's none of it. When people on this team talk about Brock Bowers, and this starts with Kirby Smart and it goes all the way to position coaches, offensive, I'm sure when we hear from Mike Bobo, he'll say the exact same types of things.
Yes, he will.
When people talk about Brock Bowers, they do not feel the need to try to motivate him at all by saying the things that he could do better. There is no fear in Todd Hartley's mind that Brock Bowers is going to listen to Todd Hartley and get a big head.
None. You know who was like that last year? And they tried the same thing. Jalen Carter was like that last year. There was praise upon praise upon praise for Jalen Carter. Best defensive prospect Georgia's possibly ever had. And turns out he's showing out at a whole bunch of camps, and he showed out in the process. And Jalen Carter, high character guy, giving money back to the local community, given service opportunities, hours. What is Brock Bowers doing the same exact thing, Daniel? Given his NIL money, so other scholarships, he says, no, I'm fine. I
got some money coming.
I will be making $6 million a year
way.
very soon. Okay?
Sooner than you think.
Sooner next year. As a matter of fact, so you keep your pennies.
Yeah.
Give it to somebody else. I'm fine. Just like Jalen Carter, this guy, they legitimately are running out of ways to heap truthful praise, not fluff, not flirting, not just smoke. They are legitimately running out of ways to say he's the hardest working, most humble, teachable, work ethic, character-driven, performance-minded kid we've ever had.
And it's because of that is the reason that they don't fear praising this kid. You know, these are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old young men. There's just almost no one that's not susceptible to getting a big head and to reading their own press clippings and to feeling entitled. And that entitlement comes in, and then it just destroys everything. It just crushes your ability to progress, your ability to do. And Kirby Smart is well aware of that. That's why he pushes people. That's why he's always saying the things that people can improve on. When he gets asked in the media, well, tell us about how unbelievable this guy is. It's why he's always saying things like, well, let me tell you, he could be better in this area, and he knows that, and he could be better in this area, and he knows that, because Kirby knows that it's a long game, it's a long season, and we are right here at the beginning of it this is the last time that you want to be filling these kids' heads with all these ideas that they're God's gift to football. Nobody fears that about Brock Bowers, because everyone's number one characteristic of Brock Bowers, the first thing everyone says about Brock Bowers is not how good his hands are. It's not how fast he is. It's not how high he can jump. It's not how strong he is. It's that he's the hardest worker that I've ever seen in all of my years of coaching football. There have now been 3 Georgia coaches that have said those exact words about Brock. Think about all the people that those 3 coaches have seen in their life.
If we were to list them down, okay, it would be embarrassing.
It would be months of talking, of just saying names.
Who they've seen, who they've been in front of, who they've helped, who they've given tidbits to. And Brock Bowers is a harder worker. We're talking Nick Chubb level of work ethic. And if you know what that means,
did you see the squat rack?
Seen the video. I saw it. I
see
saw
the bar bend?
What was left of the squat rack. I saw a man maybe smirk. Maybe I could say.
You remember when that
smile.
video came out of him running on the treadmill? Right after the season after the injury,
the ACL,
and that treadmill video came out, and Clint, I knew that some things were happening. Brock Bowers, I'm being told, a harder worker, than him.
Now you can say hyperbole, but again, our coach, these people don't do hyperbole.
They've got no incentive to do hyperbole. You understand that? Like, they're not, it doesn't benefit them.
No.
For that to be the narrative that's out there. It doesn't help. Brock Bowers doesn't need help on his draft stock.
Oh gosh.
He doesn't need help.
No, it's
doing
Daniel,
fine.
I'm not doing fine. All this talk it's done some things in my innards, and we need the season to get here.
We need it to come now. Clint's got to go and deal with his innards. Everybody, we're gonna have to cut the show short. You wanted the band back together.
People love the banter.
People love this kind of banter. All right, listen, we got a full week of shows this week. All the way through fall camp.
Tomorrow.
We got some recruiting news. If you are losing your mind about recruiting, tune in tomorrow, and we will let you know if you should be losing your mind or if you should just calm down.
He removed
the way that Clint's innards need to calm down at this point.
Pepto-Bismol is your friend. Hey, this has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We will see you guys the whole rest of the week. See you then.